Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
Do you want to hear a story? I'm not letting go.
Are you ready for this?
Follow your heart. I'm going in. This is
Blockbuster Punch-Up. Welcome to Blockbuster Punch-Up. This is episode 4. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host and film enthusiast, Todd G. Levin.
That is my name.
It is your name.
Hi, Jay.
How are you doing, Todd?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, pretty
good. Feeling pretty fancy
good
today.
Why?
You like my bow tie?
I do love your bow tie. It's wonderful.
Now, what do you think of the color?
I think that brown is usually not the best color for a bow tie. And where are your pants?
You know, that's a very important question. Let's write the course. So, for this episode, we're going to be talking about
Disney's
Maleficent.
Or as Sharlto Copley would say, Maleficent!
Maleficent! Sharlto Copley, a man of many
Copley
accents.
Or Copley?
Copley?
I should say Sharlto Copley, but we could be completely wrong.
We could be completely wrong. Now, Maleficent, if you don't know, is a remake of a classic Disney film, the classic Disney film, Sleeping Beauty.
Yes, absolutely. And we wanted to do this episode to sort of round out, we do a lot of bigger...
where things punch and smash and do a lot of that.
Yes, and we wanted to give full weight to the entire summer lineup of blockbusters, of which Maleficent was one. It was one of the bigger moneymakers of the summer.
And on that, let's dive into our recap. Todd, would you like to kick things off?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we open on a world that we're described as divided between humans and fairies, which they call the Moors, but for the purpose of the podcast, because the Moors is confusing, we'll just call them fairies, the fairy world. Maleficent is a young fairy. She heals the woods, and later, as things go on...
She's quite literally the most opposite of original Maleficent.
Yes, absolutely. The human world, we're told, is full of greed and... mean people, and they just don't... get along. So one day, Stefan, a curious little boy, happens upon the wood and meets Maleficent.
They start to fall in love, Todd. It's a really special story.
Gosh, against all their differences,
differences. Now, it's important to note that Stefan is just a farmer's boy. He's just like our, he's like
a peasant,
our would-be hero.
Absolutely, he's an everyman.
He's an everyman,
except an every boy.
He's an every boy like we all hope to be. Sure enough, years pass. Maleficent becomes more beautiful. Her jawline becomes way more defined. Her cheekbones are razor sharp.
She becomes Angelina Jolie. And we're told that Stefan has retreated to the world of the humans and has not come back after they have spent all this time in their childhood.
He didn't call. Sorry.
Stefan didn't call.
After that True Love skits.
He's just not that into her. And we are told that Stefan has become entranced by the world of human greed and power mongering.
But as one might do, I guess, in super greedy human land.
Sure, but we don't see it, so we don't know.
So we don't know why. But anyways, he returns to Maleficent.
Obviously having this... internal struggle, which should be an internal struggle within him.
Not really much of an internal struggle. Goes to straight up murder her, poison her. She passes out, trusting him.
Can't bring himself to exactly kill her.
No.
But instead cuts off her wings.
Pretty brutal.
Which is super brutal. I mean, what's worse, like death or like cutting off wings? Stefan brings the wings back to the king.
He becomes king.
Flash forward to...
Maleficent quickly becomes very evil. She finds out that Stefan is having a child.
This is where we pop into the story that we all know and love.
She's pretty pissed about it, because they used to have a thing, and he chopped off her wing. So, totally normal thing to be pissed about.
We had a thing, bro.
She shows up.
You never called.
Never called.
What's the deal?
Chopped off the wings.
What gives?
One of those was probably worse than another.
No Instas. What's the deal, man?
No Snappies. No
Snapchats.
Snappy chats. Is that what they call it? Is that what the youngins
Yeah, that's what they call it. Snappies. Good job, Jay.
Man, really... Yeah, so we
know what's up.
We know what's up. So she shows up, does her whole, I don't like you, I don't like your stupid baby.
Fuck you.
You're cool.
You're not cool, because I'm going to cast a spell on you.
And she curses the baby that before its 16th birthday, instead of the classic of the baby will die, it's you will fall into a death-like sleep. She pieces out, she's like, fuck you guys, and then leaves.
After
doing her damage.
Yeah, right.
The fairies are like, we'll take care of the baby.
Maleficent watches over the child so that her curse can come true, but really because because she has a good heart and she doesn't necessarily want the baby to die.
And slowly, this is where our story kind of unfolds toward the end. Maleficent ends up resenting her curse.
The ending twist is that it's actually not Philip that is true love's kiss. It is the true love from a mother to a daughter that Maleficent gives to Aurora that actually lifts the spell.
And then this movie kind of climaxes with she fights Stefan. Stefan's like crazy at this point. He falls off a thing and dies, and then Maleficent and the girl are happily ever after, and she can be queen of fairyland. And so that ends our recap, and that's going to take us right into our punch-up segment. Here we go.
Punch up. How do you like that, Jay?
That was, I didn't expect that, I'm going to be honest.
Taste of your own medicine, eh?
How did you get it at that angle?
You live and learn.
Yeah, finally the student has become the master, Todd.
The Maleficent has become the Maleficent.
Well played, sir. So this brings us to our punch-up. Like we always do, we're going to run through kind of a rundown of what we liked and what we didn't like about the film, and then go into our punch-ups, which will be a retelling or almost restructuring of the film we saw, and hopefully a way to improve it.
Yeah.
So here we go. Todd, what were some things you liked about Maleficent?
Well, I have to say the world building, the opening was fantastic. We build the world of the fairy world through the eyes of Maleficent, who is this girl who's living in this tree. She's young, she's curious, she heals things.
She's really fun to watch and follow. Like, I really like the young Maleficent.
She's
in that film.
great. She's a very interesting person. I wish that we would have lived in that world for perhaps a little bit longer. And I love this story of this girl who is from this world, a boy who is from that world, but they fall in love. They have something in common. And the story of young love that the movie explores is fantastic.
Yeah.
And especially because we know who Maleficent is. We know who Stefan is.
We know it's going to come to this tragic
We know
place.
it ain't going to be... It's going to go bad at a certain point. So watching two young lovers... that was wonderful. That was I suppose that was my favorite part about the film, unfortunately, was the opening of the movie. What about you?
I really liked what they did with, I could kind of see it when they started to build it out, but Maleficent has spent a lot of time with Aurora at this point, and Aurora calls her fairy godmother, which is very kind of cute and a throwback to old Disney films.
Yeah, it's a nod, yeah.
And it was great. There's a moment where Maleficent, now I wish the scene was a little bit more powerful, but there's a scene where Maleficent wants to take back this curse, because she puts this curse on her that she's just going to fall asleep.
Yes.
And she wants to take it back so bad, and she just can't. The curse is like, even when she puts the curse on earlier in the film, it's like, this cannot be reversed, not even by anything.
She says this no one can reverse this curse, or this curse cannot
never,
be
except
unbroken.
for true love's kiss,
Right.
which was a part I also liked, was that they flipped it to be not Philip to be the one to give true love's kiss, but it was Maleficent, which worked well with this film.
Absolutely, that's an incredible ending. That's a great way to end the film. So the bookends of this film are wonderful. In terms of a reversal of the mythology. I also loved Sharlto Copley's performance, even though he hasn't given much to do necessarily, but become crazy. I love this man. And Elle Fanning, I think, is wonderful too. I unfortunately don't think that she was kind of one note in the film, because that's how she was written. That's how the character was written, as just like, oh, I'm so happy.
And I guess that kind of takes us into what were kind of your qualms with the film.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the real problem with me in this film is that a lot of it was told but not shown.
Right.
We are told in the beginning of the film that the humans and the fairies do not get along.
Yeah.
They're basically segregated from each other, from like this forest. The kingdom is over there. The fairy world is over here. Actually pretty close to one another.
Yeah, not too far
They're
off.
kind of like right next to one another, but we're told that they don't live in harmony, except all we see is that, oh look, the fairies are cool and they're chilling, and then, oh look, this kingdom, they're just doing their whole king thing. So like, I don't really see exactly where they clash. There seems to be a pretty equal divide between them, and why do they really need
Why do they need to bother each other?
We're just told that. This is problematic for me. We're also told that the human world is a world of greed and power,
And
hungry,
villainy and-
they're just everything.
But we actually don't even see that world.
But we have no idea what that is, or that's just told, And I took that when I was watching it as like, maybe that's like from the perspective of the fairies.
Right.
What fairies talk about, just like humans talk about, like, oh, look out for those fairies. They'll do mischievous things.
They'll turn you into coins.
Yeah, exactly. Coins.
That's how they get all their gold, right?
Is
No,
that-
I'm just kidding.
all right.
That might be a thing.
I don't know.
I'm sure it is.
I'm sure that there are myths and legends, and we have them in our,
Yeah.
we're from the human world, and we're told about the fairies in the King Arthur times, the fays, the world of the fairies.
Very dangerous.
It's a very dangerous place. They will,
But there just doesn't seem to be any precedent, or really any also enforcement of it in this film.
Right, and I thought that maybe that's what they were building was here we are in the fairy world, and they're talking about the humans in the same exact light.
Yeah.
We're like, don't trust them, they're evil, And I like that idea, but we need to see.
Yeah.
We need to know why they feel this way about the humans. Also because we need to know the context as humans, how these humans act in this world, which would then explain Stefan's actions, which seem to come out of complete nowhere. Stefan does this terrible thing where he cuts off Maleficent's wings, this girl that he had a childhood love affair with. It was his first girlfriend, first kiss, true love's kiss, he called it. And then he goes around, he, I guess, ingratiates himself with the king, and then suddenly goes back and cuts off her wings, and we're told, but reluctantly? No, why? How? That we don't know exactly what happened.
I mean, he reluctantly maimed a person, reluctantly cut off limbs.
We need to know what made him do this, why he's doing it, and we just don't get that, and that's
No.
a problem. The other problem is that that's a conflict.
Right.
That's a huge conflict. But after this event, there is very little conflict. The only conflict is a passive conflict where Maleficent curses this girl, then later is reluctantly falling for her because of the girl's love of the forest.
But otherwise, yeah, you're right. There isn't really like, oh, what are we doing in this?
Just watching the time pass
Everybody
by.
in the audience is waiting for that 16-year-old birthday. It's just like, all right, this is going to come at any point now.
The main problem, I think, is that a lot of the things that make the original story great are in the interest of making Maleficent the main character, are cast aside
Yeah.
almost as like, no, that wasn't the story. Philip, not important. Aurora, she's this little girl, doesn't really have a lot of agency. Maleficent, yeah, well, she's the one who did this, but she feels bad about it. That's not a really good story.
It's just kind of,
And instead of doing that, I mean, I understand the idea of making her, Maleficent, the main character of the story, at the expense of all the other characters in the film and in the original story to rework it. I don't think that's really great. And this leads into the punch-up. Let's keep some of the greatness of the story, but just show the other perspective.
oh, yeah.
So my punch-ups are basically what we've talked about here in terms of just bring Prince Philip in earlier, make him a part of the story. It's Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
Prince Philip is a huge part of this story. So I love the beginning. I think it's wonderful that Stefan and Maleficent have a love. We need to know why they're at odds with each other, and that will inevitably get us to where the ending should be, which is the marriage of the two kingdoms, which is already there.
Right.
This is really beginning to sound like that I'm realizing now, is that this is a story about segregation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, it is.
This is a story about we have two worlds divided, two houses divided. It's a
Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet story, but it's also about race. It's also about there's the human world, there's the fairy world. The twain, never the twain shall meet. And here is the connection between the two, this love that almost connected them in the past, but then because of all the indoctrinations of, the fairy world and the human world, is destroyed by this act where Stefan cuts off her wings. So then later, maybe they're the ones that realize, maybe it's Maleficent that realizes it. Either way, someone makes the decision after all
To
this
not hate
pain
each other anymore?
to not hate each other
Now-
anymore. And that's where the two kingdoms are joined, along with the story that we already know and love. Just put that perspective, the perspective of the parents who caused all of this.
And then the kids finally bring
And the
them back
kids
together.
are the ones that bring mommy and daddy back together.
Now, going off of that, I think you're going to enjoy my version of the punch-up.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay, so you're going to notice right away a big difference. The film starts, and we meet our lead. Her name is Philomena.
Whoa.
Is
Like Judi
quote unquote,
Dench?
is no Philomena or some name like that is Maleficent.
Is Steve Coogan playing Prince Philip?
Steve Coogan is playing Prince Philip. So Philomena is our or of some version of that name, is our lead.
And who is this?
This is Angelina Jolie. This is Maleficent. She's young. The
right.
film starts off very similar to how we saw it. I'm just kind of rearranging things. You'll see how it unfolds.
I'm there.
When we're there, we're early on, we're introduced to those three fairies. They're not bumbling idiots in this version. They're more like grandmothers. Like, they're teaching Maleficent. We'll refer to her as Maleficent. Teaching Maleficent how to use her powers, how to grow, and how to become stronger and things like that.
They're kind of like the guides.
Exactly.
The spirit guides.
And taking us through this fun, magical world. And they're telling her about, the kingdoms are against each other, quote-unquote segregation. They say why.
Which is where we get our rules
we get our rules.
Yeah.
Also, why there's segregation. The big thing is, a long time ago, a fairy, a very powerful fairy,
wonderful.
a very powerful fairy, sought to, take control or rule or do some terrible stuff. Her name was Maleficent. We'll come back to this.
Interesting.
Maleficent, known as this powerful, terrible sorceress that eventually, sought all this power, and she was eventually brought down
and made
defeated.
the humans hate her.
And the humans hated fairies. This is why we have this huge separation, and now nobody trusts each other.
So it's been like this forever.
Forever.
For as long as we've been around, it will continue to be like this. Nothing can be done about it. You just don't mix.
Yeah. Our story unfolds very similar to the film. A boy shows up, Maleficent, or Philomena in this version, starts to interact. They start to fall in love, young love. She shows him how
which is bad because, she feels guilty about this, but she can't help her love.
But she can't help
for
it
this
because,
boy.
and by the way, they both are very much in love. This isn't reluctant love. It's just like when the film started, they both seem to be very much in love with each other.
From opposite sides of the tracks, against all odds, they fall in love with each
and
other.
an important thing
Opposites
to
attract.
note is, normal humans can't get into this forest because these guardians that we see in the movie, these big forests, these wood guys, protect the edges of the forest. You can't get in. So Maleficent, after seeing this boy enough times, Philomena trusts the boy, Stefan, to how to get into the forest and teaches him how to get past the guardians guarding the forest.
And why? Because she's in love with him?
Because she's in love with him.
Great.
We soon find out that Stefan is the prince, not a peasant, but the prince to the kingdom. So this is very big, this is important, but this isn't something he's really shared with her. It's something he's kept secret because he doesn't want her to freak out because, as we know from history, the ruling, the kingdom, especially the king, does not get along very well with the Feywild. But he's not like, he's different. He's trying to step out like Jasmine from Aladdin, so to speak.
Right.
This romance blossoms. They start growing up and still stay together. Not like the movie where they separate. As we get to this point, we soon find out that some of the soldiers are seeing Stefan go near these edges, and they're following him more and more because he's becoming of age. He's going to be king.
Interesting.
And we soon meet his father. His father, I want you to give you the perspective, is like the king from Braveheart. This guy is an old, grizzled bastard.
Sure.
And Stefan's...
I imagine him having like a thick Scottish accent.
And he hates the fairies.
Right.
The king says, Stefan, we saw you going near the forest. We know about Philomena. You can't go there anymore. We're, staying here. We're going to send some soldiers out to warn her. So soldiers go out to the forest. Philomena comes out and, says, hey, don't do this. The guardians do what they do, these big forest guys. And the soldiers come out, and in kind of a scuffle, and one of them goes out and kills one of these soldiers.
Uh-oh.
So now the soldiers bring them back, they come back, and it's almost very much, if you guys are finding the parallels, a little bit like Romeo and Juliet. Someone from this family is killed, there must be retribution. So the king and everybody says, we're going to take these fairies down. And the prince is like, you can't, and the soldiers like, the guardians, they're too strong, you can't get in there, they'll decimate our army.
And maybe at the beginning it should be noted that they exist in peace, but separately. There isn't a random scene where the king just tries to just take out fairyland for no reason. So in other words, like, this is a moment where the tides turn, and accidentally or without her willpower, her guards or her or whatever kills one of the humans. This is a huge affront and begins a war.
Exactly.
All right.
And what happens here is the king says, we're gonna kill them all. The soldiers like, you can't, the guardians are too powerful. And then the king, is thinking about it. He goes, we attack at dawn, they won't expect it. He says this very publicly in front of the room and everything. Stefan, my different version is Stefan really cares. Stefan really cares for Philomena. So he rushes back in the middle of the night because he knows they're going to attack in the morning. Under cloak of darkness, knows the way into the forest. He clears the path. The guardians let him through. He knows the tricks to get in. He gets inside to meet with Philomena. She's like all in a big, like, he died, this never happened before. I never would have killed somebody. And he's like, no, I know it wasn't your fault. It was all an accident. They're coming tomorrow. They're going to kill everybody. And then she's like, what do you mean? How do you know? And she then realizes he's the prince. She's a bit like, why didn't you ever tell me this? And like, she feels like what the fairies have been whispering in her ear. They lie, they deceit, all these kind of things. Then, out of the corner of her eye, who enters the forest but the soldiers? They have followed Stefan.
Oh no.
They followed. The king did this knowing Stefan was going to warn her. He knew. He knows.
And lead them right
lead
to...
through, get past the guardians, get past the defenses of the forest. And what are they armed with? Iron weapons, iron things. Now, Stefan's confused. He didn't tell them about iron or any of this stuff. And she starts freaking out. Get everybody awake, get everybody awake.
She believes that he did this on purpose.
He's the prince. He's led them through because I've only shown you the way to get in here. She thinks that he has betrayed him. Everything the three fairies have ever told him.
He professes his innocence.
Yeah, he has this heartbreaking, no, I didn't, and then this battle erupts. The soldiers come in, the iron, their positions, they've gotten past the bigger bad guards. Now it's just kind of these fairies. They have magic, but they just weren't prepared. They weren't ready.
And this is still like the middle of the movie.
This is still, very early in the film.
Very early.
Decimation happens.
Very interesting.
In this battle, she loses her wings. Stefan doesn't cut off any wings while she's passed out. She loses the wings. She's rushed downstream. Stefan thinks she's died in this battle. The king says like she's been killed. She's rushed away. The fairyland is almost completely destroyed. The fairies, the ones that are left over, scatter, and they have decimated this land. Our character Philomena, she wakes up somewhere. Very similar to this movie. This part, not as deeply filled in. I didn't write a script for this. But Philomena eventually wakes up, comes to, returns back to the decimated fairyland. Her wings are gone. A lot of friends and family are gone. The three fairies are still around. But most of this land has been destroyed. She believes Stefan betrayed her. That all of this has happened and just all this horrible terribleness
and starts believing in her the three fairies
stories.
You were right were right
and saying, what did they used to do, what did we do when they did this before? And she starts to latch onto this name, to this character, this idol of Maleficent, and through transference she takes the name, she becomes Maleficent,
taking on the name of evil, basically. It's the name of evil that and maybe once long ago in the kingdom and in the realm of like kingdom and fairy, there were dragons and there were, and I guess this is kind of like Game of Thrones, but like once long ago there were dragons and there was an evil force and Sauron and etc. whatever. Yeah. And here is this girl and she's innocent. She has a love. She has her heart broken. Yeah. And that's what causes this evil. Despite Stefan's attempts to, he feels bad about it. He marries somebody else, thinking that she's dead, has a daughter, is morose, and grows, just angered and guilt-ridden in his... and maybe when Maleficent shows up, doesn't know.
Because she's had such a transformation from what she was before.
And his hatred for the fairy kingdom is renewed. He starts to believe, you know what? We're not meant to be together. We're not meant to mix. We're supposed to be separate. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. I thought that I could change that, but I couldn't. I love that. That's like, that would be really interesting because it is about segregation. It's about an interracial relationship. Yeah. Between a human and a fairy.
They're not supposed to be together.
They're not supposed to be together.
And then from there you could bring in Philip.
And that's where because I love your beginning there. And that's where I think enter Philip and Aurora. Yeah. The two who are going to break down the chains, break down the wall between the two worlds.
Love is going to beat this.
Yes, love conquers all. And despite their parents' hatred for one another's kind, Aurora has sort of become the daughter of the forest, even though she's a human.
Yeah, she is that daughter.
She is the daughter who is of the forest. Philip is...
you could even play that up when Philip meets her. He thinks she's a fairy or something like that.
He enters into the forest and she's singing and she's playing with birds landing on her hand and she is a daughter of the land. She is like a woman of the forest. And Philip thinks that she is... Maybe when he first sees her, she's bathed in light. He even thinks she has wings. but you've built these two worlds against one another. Stefan is like, well, we gotta protect ourselves from this Maleficent character. Maleficent is like, I hate the world of humans, and she is so hateful. Philip loves this girl, has pricked her finger, and has fallen under this curse, and fights against Maleficent's forces, maybe with the help of Stefan.
We could have that she still kind of storms the castle.
She storms the castle,
but thinking that Philip is going to be an enemy of hers. And they still have this struggle, but
and becomes the dragon, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, the dragon is back! Maleficent is back!"
And even more so, she's terrified that Aurora could be dead or could be still fallen in this death-like sleep.
Yeah.
So she's gone into a rage.
A rage, exactly. Hatred has overcome her, and now she's acting out of rage until the moment that maybe she reveals who she really is to Stefan, or at least Stefan finds out. And that's when Stefan, and you're right, maybe the queen has died in childbirth, let's say, to Aurora. And
even more of a reason why the king has only Aurora left.
Only Aurora, and is sad and has begun to just accept that, yes, we're not supposed to mix our two worlds, and learns this and tries to, in this moment, in this climactic moment, realizes that maybe this giant dragon is Maleficent, is Philomena, is this girl that he fell in love with a long time ago, and tries to bring her down, but too late. Philip has struck her with the iron sword.
So sad.
And too late, Maleficent perishes, so we think. It's really just that the spirit, the evilness of the dragon, who is really like the symbol of the evil Maleficent, is the thing that dies.
And if we go with the original story, the fairies enchant Philip's blade,
the sword,
with sort of like truth and light. Maybe it breaks the darkness that she's pulled into.
Maybe they enchant it with love, and it breaks, and it getting into her heart.
I immediately just think of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. The power of love. It's just sword
Scott, or the power of self-respect. Philip goes upstairs, kisses Sleeping Beauty,
wakes her up.
Well, kisses Sleeping Beauty. Meanwhile, we cut to Stefan, who's mourning the loss of this woman his only love in this entire world, besides his daughter Aurora. Philip comes back. The same scene happens as it happens in Maleficent, this version.
He couldn't wake her.
Well, he could, or maybe either he couldn't, or he could, but the fairies are like, just give it a little time. Maleficent, whose spirit is actually awoken in the form of, let's say, I don't know,
whatever fairy spirits might be.
Like in the form of something.
I mean, this movie goes for it in a lot of different crazy ways, so they can just go for something.
So like she's still alive in some capacity. She comes out and is there, and maybe appears in the form of like a spirit, a death spirit or something, and wishes her the best of luck in her new love and new world that she's going to be with Philip, is happy for her that she's found this love, and the spirit of Maleficent, of Philomena, kisses her, not knowing, and just does it as a
nice kiss,
now I will fade away and I will die and whatever, but she does it, and that's actually the kiss that is true. And the tragedy, the triumph in the form of Philip and in Aurora, tragedy in the form of Stefan and Maleficent, that they will never. But then Stefan urges Philip and Aurora to join the kingdoms, so that this never happens ever again.
Exactly, that's great. I love that.
And it's the kids and it's the kids and the realization of both parents that this shouldn't happen again, and the kids,
finally bring everybody together,
break the cycle of hatred, and bring everybody together.
I love it. But yeah, that was our punch up, guys, for Maleficent 2014. We're gonna be diving right into our game segment, Blockbuster Smash-Up.
Smash, 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 smash,
Smash, smash, smash up.
Todd, how do you get that low of a note? I see your Adam's apple actually drop so deep down into your chest.
Yeah, well, it's a transmorphic kind of thing that my body does, where it just reaches deep, deep down into the cockles.
Into the cockles?
Into the cockles.
Into the cockles.
Maleficent! The fucking prawns!
Fucking prawns, Maleficent.
And it gets down there, and that's basically, where it comes from.
Where you find it, and then you pull it back out.
I pull it, I yank it back out of the well of my cockles.
It is terrifying. And inspiring.
What do you mean, Jay?
You were Mufasa, right?
I was
In a
Mufasa.
previous life?
Yeah.
We've talked about this.
Like, I was, yeah, when I
It's
watched...
strange. Todd reincarnates constantly as previous Disney characters. It's the only person I know who does this. It's a very
I just
interesting talent.
spontaneously reincarnate.
This is a magical Disney episode.
When a voice comes out, it's actually just that character right in front of Jay.
Yeah.
Which can be terrifying, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
especially to go from a 3D to like a 2D cell character. It's just really just jarring.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
I can't help it, you know?
Well, that'll lead us into the
Will it?
terror of... No, we'll lead it into it.
Will it lead us
It
there?
won't. Segues are hard, guys. So we're going to be playing our game segment of Blockbuster Smash-Up.
Yeah.
This is where we take two films, one being a globally accepted as a bad film and a globally accepted as a good film, and we're going to smash them together to try to create a new film for all of you in real time.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. We go head to head with
Head
good
to
and
head.
bad.
Here we go. All right, this week I'm doing the bad film.
And I have the good fortune of doing the good film. Although I must say, I like doing the bad
I
film
like
more.
doing
It's
bad
much
films
more
too.
fun.
It's fun to sift through
Yeah,
that
it's
basket
really
of goodies.
just the worst movies and just find something that's so deliciously terrible to aim at me, at each other. It's just
great.
like wonderful. So
Here we go. On the count of three.
I don't know what Jay's gonna say.
And I don't know what Todd's going to say. So on the count of three,
One,
1, 2, 3.
The
Speed
good, the
2
bad, and
cruise
the ugly.
control. Oh, jeez.
Speed 2 Cruise Control is the one on the boat, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a good thing I didn't say Titanic
because that would have been very easy, I guess.
because that was
Well, you do the Titanic and you forget about Speed 2.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The Sergio Leone masterpiece mixed with Speed 2 Cruise Control that does not have Keanu Reeves in it, right?
No, it doesn't.
Right. It has like another guy.
Yeah, it has a guy. I'm sorry, whoever you were. But I don't know your name.
Whoever you are.
But Sandra Bullock reprises her
But
role.
Sandra
of
Bullock
course.
is in it as I forgot her name.
I do too. I don't know.
It's something
You know
quaint.
what? I used to watch Speed 2 Cruise Control quite a bit, but
Did
I
you?
kind of refrained. No, I've not.
Oh, okay. I've only seen it that one
I
time.
watched it one time, and I
I think
was like,
it's
never
one of
again.
those the one-time movies where it's
Yeah,
just like,
Speed 2
oh,
Cruise
it's the
Control
same
is for
thing
sure.
but on a boat, and I, as I understand, it's the same sort of thing where it's not Dennis Hopper, is it? Because Dennis Hopper gets his head locked off.
The boat is. For anyone who hasn't seen Speed, so the boat. Yeah, I don't think you can reattach that. The boat is
No.
like locked in, and it's like if you have to keep it above like 6 knots, or like the boat explodes.
Which is considerably less scary on the open water.
Because you can just kind of circle.
you just-
I think like the boats, if I remember correctly, it's like locked in a coordinate, so it's gonna like hit an island. I think
Got
they
it.
thought of something.
Got it.
But it's a terrible, terrible film. But that's all we're here to do. We're here to smash up the good, the bad, and the ugly with Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Okay.
Now we have three warring factions on a cruise ship.
They're all on a cruise ship. Maybe there's a treasure on an island
Oh, that they're taking the cruise ship to.
that someone has hijacked the cruise ship.
They have a standoff in their bathing suits on an island.
Basically there's a treasure on an island. Think Treasure Sierra Madre, Monte Cristo, something like this. Someone has hijacked the boat and is the cruise ship and is charted a
Through the threat of a bomb on the cruise ship, they have hijacked it. Our bad character.
take us to the island. These are the coordinates. We're gonna speed towards there. There's that word again.
It is
speed.
speed. Perfect.
And the bad.
We got it in there perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. The bad is the person who's doing this. The good is let's say who's the name of the guy? He's just a guy.
I don't think he has a name, doesn't he? Isn't he like
Is he a
literally the
police
man
officer?
with no name?
Is he a police officer?
On
Well,
the
I'm
boat?
talking about
Oh
in
yeah,
Speed.
yeah. In Speed.
Is he another police officer?
I think he plays the same guy. He's supposed to be Keanu Reeves' character.
Okay, so Neo is on the boat.
Neo's on the boat. Neo is on the boat. Whoa.
Neo,
Speed 2 has gotten crazy,
Neo
everybody.
is on the boat.
So he's our good. Who's our bad?
He's our good. The bad's the bad guy.
No, but who is our bad?
Oh, you mean
if
in
Keanu is our good, who is our bad?
Who is our bad? King Koopa.
King Koopa? Perfect.
Dennis Hopper's reprises his role as King Koopa
Oh my god!
from the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh my god!
And he is on the boat as well. So we've got Neo from The Matrix, King
We have
Koopa,
King Koopa.
who's ugly, Sandra Bullock. That's just rude.
That was really rude.
Who's she's gorgeous. Who's the ugly? The ugly, and by the way, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is just he's a funny person. So it
He's
could
a funny guy.
It could be just like Zach
be
Galifianakis.
Reanimated John Candy?
Reanimated John Candy.
Reanimated John Candy.
So like John Candy teams up with Neo. It's kind of like he's
buddy comedy we all wish we
the
could
Abbott and
have.
Costello, of the 90s action film franchise sequels.
Yeah.
Neo is here and he's trying to thwart this evil. I suppose he doesn't have ultimate power over matter
No, not in this
because not yet, right?
No.
He's just just a computer hacker.
Is he? No, he's not. Oh, he's pre-Neoing.
Pre-becoming Neo, the one.
Maybe this is
a trip that he's taking.
This is the trip that made him only want to be by himself all the time. Because a lot of things went
he goes on a trip.
Boat.
So Neo...
this is the prequel to The Matrix.
Neo is... The prequel to The Matrix
We kind of cheated this one, guys. We slammed in too many other things.
The prequel to The Matrix is Neo is in love with Sandra Bullock and goes on a cruise after she has a very traumatic experience involving a bus.
Oh, yeah.
But he takes her on this, gallivanting
this
tour.
This is the prequel for three things.
The Mediterranean.
Koopa leaves, he gets the treasure and funds his kingdom, his Koopa kingdom with his treasure.
Oh, man. So he's Mr. Koopa, not King Koopa.
Not King Koopa,
yes.
He funds it because of the golden treasure he gets on this. Neo ends up being an isolated person because of this trip, because of a terrible time.
And Sandra Bullock probably dies.
And Sandra Bullock probably dies. And John Candy...
No. Sandra Bullock does not die, but she's inspired after this to become an astronaut. Because she's now been in a bus, she's been in a boat. A boat.
And she said, you know what, fuck it, I gotta go faster.
I want to travel around the Earth. And this is also what causes her to... Maybe she has a kid with Neo, and that's the kid that dies.
So Neo's really just a shitty father.
That's the kid that dies, so that's why she goes to space later is, and so right off the bat...
A lot of things going here.
Where does John Candy...
John Candy, after this trip...
I think he dies tragically.
No, after this trip, this is the reason why he only sticks with trains, planes, and automobiles.
I almost did a spit take right there. This is why John Candy only sticks with planes, trains, and automobiles, and maybe becomes interested in polka.
Yeah.
Because of his role in Home Alone. Have you heard of it? The Polka Polka Polka? And basically the Mexican standoff on the island is, I think, after the boat crashes onto the island, you've got Mr. Koopa, soon to be king, Neo, not yet following the White Rabbit.
Right.
And John Candy, flanked by, I suppose, somewhere in there is Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, somewhere.
Maybe she's in the middle, or I don't know where she is exactly. But there's a Mexican standoff between the three of them, and who walks off with the goods.
We just found out that Speed 2, Cruise Control, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly together actually is the creator of multiple films. The nexus for franchises.
It's the nexus of many, many franchises. It would be called Speed 2, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly franchise control. Speed 2.
It is the franchise control.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly franchise control.
And we were really hoping those Mario films were going to take off, but they just
Super Mario, Matrix, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Speed 2, Cruise Control, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I'd love for someone to overhear somebody hearing, Speed 2 Cruise Control is the nexus of all of these films.
some
film nerds. Just like a crazy
theory, Pixar theory, insane conspiracy.
And now you guys finally got it. You heard it first here.
Heard it here first. Speed 2 Cruise Control is the nexus for all of great films from the 90s, including Super Mario Brothers, because it is great. King Koopa.
Maybe. King Koopa. All right, guys. Well, that was episode 4 of Blockbuster Punch-Up and our review of Maleficent. We'll be posting a new episode every month. Please leave us a review or any comments on iTunes, and if you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts like Roll to Seize, like Because Comics, this month we're going to have our own kind of Halloween spooky episode coming up in the next one, so tune in. But also in next week, we have Because Comics is throwing their spooky Halloween episode, so please be sure to tune in.
And of course, the soundboard
actually, all of our podcasts have spooky Halloween episodes. Yes. I only did it so you could say that 3 times.
Of course.
And so check them out. You can see all of those at partialarc.com. That's arc with a C. Of course, you can email us any questions at blockbusterpunchup@gmail.com, or let us know what punch-ups you might have. We'd love to hear any of those. So please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at partialarc, and you can follow Todd G. Levin on his Twitter or Instagram at TG11. Or Teague11, as he said before. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode of Blockbuster Punch-Up.
Bye-bye.
Let's go home.